What's going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be talking about how you can create a structure in your life that will give you a foundation that you can stand upon as you move towards the life of your dreams, as you begin to level up and grow and begin learning and expanding, right? This is very, very important to have some structure, to have a foundation in your life. And this is one of the things that I've learned that has helped me tremendously on my journey, just to have a certain focal point which I can always return to, because it's basically like your balancing point. Like, you can go and dance and have fun and do your thing, but at the end of the day, you'll have this balancing point, this foundation where you can always come and stand on, right? And because you have your footing there, you have your ground, you know where it's at, you know what this order is. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about how you can create a structure in your life by giving yourself certain orders, right? By reprogramming your mind and your brain to work in your favor and not against you. Because a lot of us, if we grew up in the Matrix, we have all these old programs and things going in our internal kingdom. Like, we have been overthrown in the sense that we have our stomach telling our mind what to do, and we have all these crazy things going on inside us. And so how do you really deal with that? How do you balance yourself out? The key to balancing yourself out is to go back inside and to start to lay down the law, to lay down the rules and the order of your kingdom. And this will reflect in the external world as you begin to lay down these laws in yourself. So it's very important. This is just an example. As you become more self-aware and you gain more respect for yourself, you begin to recognize that since this is a temple, this is your kingdom, this is where you go to give honor and reverence to the Creator, how you treat your body is a great reflection towards how you're going to treat everyone else and everything in the world that you encounter. So, for instance, there's lots of different food and things that we put in our body. And when you grow up and you're unconscious, you just eat whatever. You go eat fast food, you go eat the super duper fudge ice cream, with some brownie on top and all that. And that's all fine, but there's holistic versions of that, just for the first thing, okay? There's healthier versions that you can choose. You can still indulge in the pleasures of life, that's fine, but it's important to have certain rules and laws, because the thing about pleasure and the thing about temptations is that if you have too much, it's easy to drown yourself in it, and it's easy to get lost, it's easy to fall asleep just by the lull of the constant pleasures and the temptations of the world. That's just how it is. So you need to have some real laws, some real guidelines that you can always fall back upon, because if you don't, this world will literally consume you. Like, you will be so lost and have no self-awareness and just be consumed. You'll be consumed by the world, but what that will look like to other people when they look at you is what they'll see is someone that's just constantly consuming things completely unconsciously, right? You probably know, you might have someone in your life that that's just watching the news and just eating whatever they feel like eating and doing whatever they feel like doing, right? And that's fine, and there's nothing really wrong with that. The only thing is that type of state of consciousness is not going to help you unlock the grand secrets of the cosmos and of your internal self. It's just not going to happen. You really have to take control, and in order to do that, you need to have some healthy boundaries within yourself. You need to be able to go in and say, okay, no longer going to be putting these substances in my body, because it's time to cleanse, it's time to regenerate, it's time to go through a period where those things, the fatty foods or whatever it is no longer going to be in this body. And so this is just an example of how you can put some rules and laws down in your life. Another example that's very important is physical exercise. It's really important to have a schedule to get your body in shape, because when your body, everyone knows it. If you're working out, right, and you're exercising daily or very consistent, what you'll end up doing is you'll start building momentum, right? And as you begin to build that momentum, it'll become easier and easier to do it, because these healthy habits will keep you in shape, right? But if you don't have a foundation, your habits build your foundation, right? The things that you do, find a morning schedule that works for you. When you wake up, don't just wake up and lay in bed and just be sitting there doing nothing. Really move into a certain schedule program that you set, not like an unconscious program, but a program that you put in place for yourself to get to the next level. What is the stepping stones for you to get to the next level? What does that look like in your life? What is your ideal day when you wake up, right? Find a flow that works for you. Maybe it's okay, you get up and you start playing some chess to wake up your mind, or you start playing some games and to wake up your mind, get your mind moving, right? Maybe you go do some breath work for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Maybe you flow into some yoga. Maybe you start doing some jumping jacks. I don't know, but find out what it is for you, and then figure that out and adapt it into all areas of your life. It's not just a morning schedule. It becomes it starts like that, but then it trickles on into the afternoon, into the next thing. And this is a very important point here. So you have these guidelines and these rules and these orders, but you don't want to become like a Nazi about them. You don't, like, maybe at the start you do, right? At the start you really want to basically show up for yourself and assert your willpower into the world and upon yourself to get the things done that you know you need to do. But as soon as you're like, okay, like this has become not so much of a chore for me, but more of something that I actually enjoy, and this is something that I can do reliably every single day because I've just built up so much momentum in this direction. When you actually get to that point, then you can recognize that it's a guideline, right? It's a guideline to keep you in a certain structure, in a certain form. And it's at times in your life, you're gonna need to adapt new forms. And that means that you're gonna have to get rid of the order, right? To get rid of the things in your life. And you have to be able to let go in order to go to the next level. This is very important. It's like a lot of people will get into this flow where they have order, right? They have a lot of structure in their life, but it's too much structure and there's no room for chaos. Or a lot of people will be on the opposite end of the spectrum and they'll have so much chaos and no structure at all, right? And then even the people that sort of get it figured out and are like, okay, I got my structure and I got my chaos in my life from time to time and that's fine, get stuck on that level and they never realize that there's higher levels to go to, and it's going to look different every single time. It's going to be a new picture, right? Because as you grow, as you expand, you're going to see much further than before. So it's very, very important to put down some structure and order in your life. And it all starts in your mind. You've got to go inside and literally like go to the king, go to the throne with your decrees and say, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. And then follow through and honor those things. And if you notice as you begin to do that, if you have a problem actually following through and doing those things, that should be a red flag for you, because what that means is that your internal voice, like what your spirit wants, right, for your evolution and growth, is not syncing up with your mind and your body and your voice and your actions and the reality. And if that ever happens to you, it's very important to go back inside and really restructure everything, because that's a big red flag to show you that you're not fully in alignment with who you want to be. So in order to get in alignment with who you want to be, you have to build that structure, that form of the body that you want to live in, right? We're all building and living within bodies. So bringing this all back together here. When you begin to build a certain level of structure in your life, you'll notice that the other component, it's a yin and it's yang. So the other component is the more like the structural component is more of the masculine component. And on the other end, you have the feminine component, which is more of the chaotic component. And this is the abundance. This is the beauty. And that's always going to be there. I mean, just look around, it's everywhere. And the beauty of this is that when you have structure, your inner chaos can actually thrive. Your inner chaos can expand and grow, and you can learn how to dance. You can learn how to have a great time, because people that are so strict and they're so stuck in their structures and are super rigid, right? A lot of people look in the world like traditional people that are in like these different mainstream religions and things. They're very rooted in a specific form, a specific structure, and it's hard for them to ever get outside of the box, right? And so And because of that, they're able to manage the chaos in their life, and there's nothing ever that really flips their whole life upside down. I mean, granted, sometimes there is, but for the most part, not really. But you can learn how to get to that stage where you can just develop a relationship with chaos to see what it's for, right? What the nourishment and the abundance is for, and also to have some reverence and respect for it. Very, very important. But in order to do that, you have to have your structure. You have to have your discipline. You have to have your habits. You have to be able to recognize that everything that's going on out here is just a reflection of what's happening in here, because all is self. And at the end of the day, it's all on you, because we all reap what we sow, right? We are a cosmic family here on the planet, and when we look out into the world, we see our reflections. The people and the things that we're connected to, our network is our net worth, right? It's very, very important to understand this. So find your tribe, find the people that you want in your life that are gonna help you grow, because that's a structure for you too. They serve as pillars in your life. So very, very important. When you start to develop structure in your life, find other individuals that also have a similar structure, and then you build a mega structure, right? It's very beautiful like that. So going back to it all, the reason why you want to have more structure in your life is because it's going to give you a foundation to stand upon. But recognize that if you're just standing on the same foundation forever, you need to learn how to build up your steps, right? And the beauty about having a foundation, like having a system of roots and support, is that you never fall too low. Like you can, because it's yin and yang and you're doing the dance, and you might be like, doing little extreme things, like maybe you just go raw vegan for like 30 days straight, and that's really extreme if you've been like eating meats and just doing whatever you've been doing all your life, and you're just like, all right, extreme approach. You might actually have to take an extreme approach in order to find your center, right? But while you do that, you might actually fall all the way over. And if you end up falling all the way over, it's nice to have some support and a foundation so that you don't fall so far. And that's really the structure and the order. You can always come back to it and recognize like, okay, like this is my daily flow. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. And when you know that and you're really clear about that, it gives you this ability to just kind of stand up straight. And it's very important because as you begin to stand up straight, then you can start putting the building blocks on, right? Once you get your foundation set, then it's like, okay, now we got a building block and another building block and another one. And this might look like you changing your structure up a little bit, you know, you adapting more things onto your aura. And so it's very important. So yeah, that's the video for today. I hope that you benefited from this. If you did, please like and subscribe. There's going to be more videos like this coming out in the future. I really want to provide all of you who are watching this channel with some keys and a blueprint that's going to help you raise your energy and live the life of your dreams, because there's so much chaotic things happening in the planet right now. I mean, if you're paying attention to what's going on, you're probably, and especially if you're aware and you can see and you're looking at the government and you're like, yo, like it just seems like it's getting a little bit more tyrannical over here in our rights. Like, what about our rights? It seems like you look back like 20 years ago and the rights that you have in like mainstream America, it's not really the same anymore, right? And you look at that and then so you ask yourself, what are you gonna do about that, right? What are you gonna do about that? And recognize that in order to even be in a position to consider doing anything about that, you have to get your whole thing figured out first. So if you don't have your thing figured out, you don't got yourself figured out, if you're not on your throne, if you're not really kicking it with yourself and putting in the work, then you need to go to war, you need to go to battle with yourself and unify yourself before you begin looking out here and trying to figure out what you're gonna do about the bigger issues. Once you go deal with what's inside yourself, then you can come out here and you can deal with the bigger issues, right? Because you'll have a lot more clarity about how to actually perceive what steps to take. You'll have a map, a blueprint, and that map and that blueprint you can apply to yourself and you can use it to grow and expand and become greater. So this is a simple video. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some value in it. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Keep expanding. Aloha and pura vida.